It's story time with the Histors, with your hosts, Matt Marie and Jen Dumas.
Presented by Anchor FM.
All right, Jen. So I got to tell you, all this like off microphone conversation we had about feasting has made me legitimately hungry. Like I could get
Of course it has. Of course it has.
get up, walk away from the mic, just hear me out. Go
All
get
right.
some smoked meats, like a feast. You know, some sauces, some dipping sauces, like like something with some vinegar. Get some ribs, pulled pork, brisket, beans. You know, I'm like that video of Mark Zuckerberg right now. Like I want smoked meats, Sweet Baby Ray's,
Dude,
smoking those meats.
I get where you're coming from, and I like a good barbecue too. But at this point of the game, yeah, you're pretty sick, dude. We have just been immersed.
What makes me? How is that even sick?
We have immersed ourselves in stories of death, blood, and gore, preparing for this episode, and that's the first thing you think of as barbecue.
Yep.
Oh my god, you
Well,
really want to
listen,
start off like this?
Yeah. People eat. I eat stuff. I'm hungry. It's a feast. We've been talking about all these other people eating, and
Oh my
I
God.
want to eat. Sometimes people eat other people. I just read this great
Thank
book
you.
about
Pardon.
like Alfred Packard. Yeah, they call it long pig.
Gross, dude. I don't
Yeah,
even know what to say. I don't even know what to say
what
to
do you
that.
you love zombie stuff? I don't get it.
Yeah, zombies.
Yeah,
As a
I'm
human
not.
being, I
I'm
don't
not saying I'm going to
think.
eat other people. I'm just saying zombie stuff shouldn't gross you out. And then thinking about meats and eating and stuff like it's barbecue,
Oh my god, we should just
just
get started.
non-human meat.
You know what? Maybe just this one time, maybe this podcast can turn away from gory direction of the last two seasons. Maybe we
No,
can tell a happy story.
nope, no. This is the world of our podcast at this point. I think we just got to lean into the brand at this point in time. The stories we tell after years of going out there trying to find some engaging material and everything else. Like, listen to our back catalog. It's messed up. All right, history's messed up. We just got to recognize that our listeners want that blood. They want that gore. Just like I want like some brisket right now.
Oh my god, let's just get started.
It's
Ladies
that
and
simple.
gentlemen,
Come on.
welcome again to Storytime with the Histress, the podcast for world history students, teachers, and enthusiasts. It's world history, but told our way. Season 3 kickoff.
Dude, so excited. It's been a while. I'm ready to get back after it.
It has been a while, but I think we have a really, really, really good start.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So, our title today, Banquet of Blood.
Yes.
And for the uninitiated, this is a story that kind of combines seismic historical events with a little Hollywood screenwriter's intrigue.
Ooh, that's so
And-
exciting.
I know, right? And a nice little dash of death and destruction.
Got to.
By
This is
the
what I'm
end,
saying.
not-
This is who we are.
By the end, not only would Islam have been changed forever, but literal world-altering events will have been set in motion.
All right, so
Humanity-
we're in the world of Islam.
Yeah, we are.
All right, let's do
And
this.
Humanity's never going to be the same.
Humanity's never going to be the same after this story?
Humanity. Yeah,
That's a big,
I know.
that is a big, like, kind of risk we're taking with that claim.
This is a big. Our listeners will see.
All right, man. I'm excited to see how we put this story together. Speaking of putting this story together, we got to hit our sources, right?
Yeah, we do.
So for this one, we checked out Paul Friedman, his Great Courses lecture provided by Yale University, which is equal parts like amazing, good historical, knowledge and just heart, soul crushing boredom all at once. I mean, the guy he's sharp as a tack, and I'm just, you know what? We'll leave it at that. We don't need to be mean, We also checked out the Gods and Generals podcast. We used them before for the Russo-Japanese War series. Highly recommend to all of our military history nerds out there. Give those guys a look. They've got a YouTube page. They got some podcasts. So like they're all over the place. And then we also cross-reference a lot of this with the World History Encyclopedia to really flesh out the rest of the details. Ooh, speaking of flesh. Some brisket after this.
Good God.
That's what they call a callback in the biz.
Let's start with a little historical context on Islam itself, since that's really what this story is going to focus on. And we know around 610 CE that's really a general origins date for the rise of Islam, and it starts with the Prophet Muhammad, who by this age at 610 is like 40 years old. He's been a merchant with the Quraysh tribe, and he's up in Mount Hira, and it's like meditating or maybe putting himself in a little bit of seclusion, dealing with how to deal with paganism and getting away from it as that he's seen in society. And for the Islamic faith, it's the idea that Muhammad is visited by the angel Gabriel and receives divine revelations. And by divine revelations, the idea that this is the final revelation from Allah, which Allah is just God in Arabic.
Right.
And it's the same Christian God.
Right.
That's what
because they already had Jesus, right? They
Yeah.
being like the people of the book, the Abrahamic religions,
Yeah.
right? Like first there was Moses got the commandments, and then that didn't work out. Then there was some flooding, and then Jesus gets sent down and crucified, and basically like people hadn't been taking the words and the beliefs and everything and putting them all together in the way that God had wanted, right? And so
Yeah,
this was
exactly.
it. This is the last time. This is you get what you get, and this is how we're going to do this religion.
Yeah, exactly. And like Islam believes in the legitimacy of Moses and Abraham and Jesus. Not Jesus as the Messiah, but that's a totally different
We're getting deep in it
podcast.
now.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But so it is like the final revelation. Like this is what we need people to do. Like God's through the angel Gabriel's like, this is what we need people to do, because judgment days are coming, and there's two choices. There's heaven and there's hell. And this is what people need to do to get into heaven. So let's make it happen. And so that's how Muhammad becomes the prophet of Islam, and then goes and spreads the word of Islam, becomes the leader of the Islamic world.
And boom, right? Everybody's together. Kumbaya. No more
Yes.
problems.
Not really kumbaya.
No?
No, of course not. Not even kumbaya, because like there's a big long story, and we don't have time to really get into it. But even Muhammad, when he starts, preaching Islam and trying to spread the beliefs, he's not even loved in his own country, and actually it wasn't a country yet, but in his own region. And so, but what we really want to get into is when Muhammad dies, and when Muhammad dies, there is a little bit of an issue over who's going to be the next leader of the Islamic world, right? The next caliph, and some believed that the leader had to be somehow related to Muhammad, be a descendant of Muhammad or related to Muhammad in order to lead the Islamic world. Others believe that the Islamic community should pick the next caliph. And this is where we see the origins of the Sunni Shia split. And so Sunni Muslims believe that the leader should be picked by the Islamic community, while Shias believe that the leader has to be somehow related or a descendant from Muhammad. And from the first four caliphs that come after Muhammad, the Shias only recognized the fourth one, who was Ali. And Ali was the son-in-law of Muhammad, as legit. But then Ali gets assassinated. Yeah, because that's just what happened a long time.
What happened to all this? Like, when we all get together and do this religion, everybody's going to be good.
Matt, if we know nothing from world history, or if we know anything from world history, religion has not always been used as a way to bring the people together.
It's just a little galling. The story that you were telling, like, I thought for a second you were going to get your moment of, like, happiness.
Oh, no.
Oh, bummer.
So,
Okay.
So after the assassination of Ali, then there's just like the struggle for power and who's going to take the rightful throne, who is going to be the leader of the Islamic world. And so eventually in 661, the Umayyad dynasty, or the Umayyad Caliphate, comes to power, is able to militarily gain this throne, and becomes the first true caliphate. And they're Sunni. So right off the bat, we know that Shia Muslims are not going to be loving this new leadership of the Islamic world. Like, they're just not going to recognize legitimacy.
Yeah, and they're killing each other.
Yeah.
They're not getting along. They're not having this.
No.
All right,
No,
so no kumbaya.
No.
No happy. Like, we got lots of war. We got lots of death and destruction. So, like, the Umayyad, like, are they able to, like, crush and make their enemies submit? Or what happens here?
No, it's not that it was necessarily crushing them to submit. I think it's more the Shia were more upset about what the Umayyads did when they were in power, because they weren't the devout caliphate that Shia Muslims at the time definitely wanted, right? They were, when it came to some pretty big things you don't do as a Muslim, drinking, dietary restrictions. The
Like the
Umayyad,
5 pillar stuff and
yeah,
all that, like how you do the religion.
yeah, they're pretty lax on that.
Okay. Well,
And
what
so,
I heard was there was some other beef too.
oh, there's a lot of other beef.
Yeah. Remember that very nerdy and boring Yale historian I
Yes.
was talking about, Paul Friedman?
Yes.
He was very excited. He laughed at himself. He was the only one laughing. But to be fair, there was a lot of other like old, like decrepit Yale guys.
Yeah,
I don't
gotcha.
feel bad about insulting Yale. This is back-to-back podcasts. I've gotten into Yale. Not into Yale. I'm never getting into Yale. That's the closest I've ever got is proclaiming it right here, right now. I know we have a devout listener at Yale, and we love you, and we're glad you're there. You're the good one. All right, everybody else. But anyway, Paul Friedman, he said that the Berbers were also upset
Oh
about
yeah.
stuff. And the Berbers, they were those traders like you were talking about
Yeah,
when,
North
when
African
Muhammad
traders,
was
yeah.
up in the mountains kicking it, reflecting.
Yeah.
And because the Muslims weren't wandering around the desert anymore. Friedman was like, they needed to be doing more wandering and things had become too urbanized. And
Yeah,
they were like
they
soft.
become a cosmopolitan. It was kind of like this idea of any other empire at the time, right? And we see this, and it's not just with the Umayyad. All empires do this. They get lax. They come to power and they get a little lax, and
Right.
things go every which way but the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, so I'd heard about this guy. He was a caliph. He was one of the last
Yeah.
caliphs of the Umayyad. His name was Yazid II.
Uh-huh.
And one of the things that was leveled against him for being like too soft, like you were pointing out, was like dude was really into poetry and music, and
Yes.
apparently people were like, you can't do poetry, like you can't be into poetry this much. But here's the thing, poetry demands your attention. Can I make I'm gonna have to confess right now. I don't even want to talk about this poetry. It's making me feel like I have indigestion right now. I did not understand poetry until deep into high school, way too deep. I had this English teacher and he had to
Yeah.
call me to the front of the class. This was in this American lit class I was taking
Yeah.
at the time. So I don't know, 11th grade. And we were reading this Poe poem and we had all these questions and stuff, you're supposed to answer poetry analysis sort of stuff. And he's like, I want to talk to you about your Poe analysis. And I was like, okay, what's going on? I did all the work. And he's like, no, the poem's not literal, right? And I was like, what do you mean it's not literal? It's about a house, and then the house is falling apart. And I answered the questions because that one time he said the wall, and he had to explain it to me Poe was talking about his mind and everything else. And I was dumbfounded. And
You really thought the poetry was literal?
yeah, poems are
Oh.
dumb, right?
Now you've just alienated 2/3 of our listeners.
Whatever, dude. I'm just gonna say it. But also, I understand why Yazid prioritized this. But I think he should reprioritize. I think obviously his empire's falling around behind him,
Yeah.
all around him and stuff. But no, man. Poetry, I'm not feeling it. But also, I get it because if you got to understand, it's not literal. I don't have anything bad to say about the musical interests and stuff.
Oh no, not at all. 'Cause
Those
we're
are
into
noble.
music, yeah.
Yeah, it should be maintained
But-
at all costs. But the poetry thing, I'm not feeling that.
Well, again, he's leader of the Islamic world, and the whole goal is to spread Islam and create devout believers, and that you're not going to do by writing poetry in your spare time.
Maybe, I don't know. Sometimes Bono gets poems written
Oh my God,
all the
we're
time.
not. We're not.
I've already offended and alienated much of our listenership because of my Bono takes, but
I know.
I'm just saying, whatever. I also heard there was this other issue with the number of caliphs.
Well, yeah,
that
because they kept dying young, whether it was from tuberculosis or diphtheria or assassination. You had all these.
Diphtheria. Oh,
Oh, gross, right? I know.
it's one of those diarrhea diseases,
you die,
right?
and when you have one right after the other, you have no stability, no continuity, and one's going to create something, and the next one's going to change it. The next one's going to change that. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster in any empire.
That's what happens, right?
Yeah.
People, especially at this point in time, I think it's not just a Sunni Shia split thing. It's not.
No, this is just ineffective leadership.
This
in
is
general,
just all across the empire,
Yeah.
right? And this is where we start to get into stuff that's near and dear to my heart because of again my well documented and amazing musical tastes.
Yeah.
This group of people, the Abbasids, they rise up under this thing called the Black Flag Coalition.
And for
Which
the-
I'm not even a huge Black Flag
I
fan,
was gonna-
but I still think it's pretty cool that that's what it's called.
For listeners, Black Flag is a punk band.
Yeah, they're overrated-ish. They're still very good. Like, Damage is legit. This is not a music podcast again.
Right. We can't critique music.
Can't keep.
No.
Well, we can.
We can.
We could
but-
totally do. We have a side hustle take, right? Yeah. So there was this like leader, like Shia, this like Persian Shia guy, Abu Abbas.
Yeah.
And, technically he's this Abbasid clan was led by this guy Ibrahim, but he had been assassinated by the Umayyad. There's so many people assassinated here.
I know, it's literally like you turn around and someone's dead from assassination.
All these dead royals being assassinated all the time. It's crazy. It's out of control, right? So, but Ibrahim's son Abu Abbas takes over, and he's really the guy who starts this rebellion against the Umayyads, and he's going to march on Damascus, this city where you said the Umayyad were like getting soft on it, reading poetry and stuff. Right.
And this coalition, tell us about his coalition, because that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the coalition that like I think anybody who ever goes to war would want to have. Right. According to this historian Patricia Cohn, like this coalition consisted of multi-ethnic groups of like Shia, Berber, Christians, rebel slaves. You had talked about all these different people who might have been pissing off and treating really, really poorly. There were non-Arab and non-Muslim insurgents and warriors that would join on, sometimes as this army of the Black Flag is marching into battle. Out in front would be these insurgents who are joining the cause, and this is super unique, both for the time, but also historically, because something like this kind of inclusivity, just doesn't happen, right? But because it was such an inclusive coalition, the Abbasid were really, really popular, and I think it gave a lot of people hope that, like this was going to be something. That like would turn the tides in a way that would make a better Islamic world, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So eventually, this all comes to a head. This coalition of the Black Flag, they meet up with the armies of the Umayyad at this place called Zab, right?
What a great name for seriously! What a great name!
It sounds like something that should have been like focus group tested as a name for a battle. And like it's like Zab is like a placeholder name. You like it? Like, all right, we have a disagreement here.
Dude,
I do not like it.
It's to the point.
It's 3 letters.
I think it makes it more effective.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even know what that means. I'm trying to think of what to say back. Like, what do you mean it makes it more effective?
I just think sometimes battle titles can be long-winded and extremely boring. But like, and then you could just say the Battle of Zab, and then they're like, okay, I get it, yeah.
No, I don't know, man. Like the Civil War, like the Battle of the Wilderness, like that's cool.
Really,
Zab
the
just
Battle
sounds
of the
like
Wilderness.
Yeah, because it's like there's imagery. I learned from my poetry lessons about imagery, right?
I think of where the wild things are, and that is not doing anything for me. So.
Well, that's like the Dave Eggers recreation movie wasn't doing anything for anybody. All right, now we are way off course. Zab. Well, you know what? To be perfectly honest, it's not that interesting of a battle. Like, dudes died in the sand. The Umayyad, like, Caliph's army fled the field. And the quote that I had on this one was, like, in a miasma of panic, which is, like, that's a pretty cool
That's
way
a
of talking
great
about
line.
it. Yeah. There's just one crazy detail, though, that's worth mentioning about the battle. Apparently, Marwan II was the leader of the Umayyads at this point in time. He was deposed.
Okay.
Right. And the graves of these previous Umayyad caliphs who had come before him after he was deposed at the Battle of Zab, like the coalition of the Black Flag went and took like all of these different graves. They dug them up. They opened up the coffins. They found all the corpses, and they burned all the bones and everything that they could find inside to like scrub clean the stain of the Umayyads. And now the caliphate is going to be under Abbasid control. Game over, right? The deposition of the last Umayyad Caliph, Marwan II, like leads to the end. Right, this guy, like his family line has literally been burned to the ground. Right, he flees after the battle. He goes to Egypt, actually, where he was likely assassinated.
Go
right?
figure.
Yeah, he definitely ends up dead.
Because
anyway.
really desecration, dude, that is harsh. In
Dude.
any culture, any religion, desecration of bodies that's like,
Commitment to cause.
oh, I guess. That's not quite what I was thinking, but I'll go with it.
No,
No, but we'll go with it.
I think it shows that you're in it to win it.
Oh, you
Burn up the
desecrated
bodies.
the dead.
What did you like about The Walking Dead? You don't like the zombie eating. You
No, I
don't
do like- no, I love
the
this-
burning of the deads. Like,
I do. I think the whole idea is with The Walking Dead is, first of all, I just always like the idea of zombies, like the undead, or not dead anymore, whatever you want to call it, rising up, and I'm fascinated by a post-apocalyptic world. I always have
yeah,
been.
that part's cool.
But the best thing about all these, especially The Walking Dead, they've done a really good job about that, is showing that the true evil is evil among humanity, and
oh yeah,
that's it. The zombies bring that out, and so that's always been really fun. But post-apocalyptic world, that's my jam.
yeah. It's like Night of the Living Dead, and I don't
Yeah.
want to give away the end, but it's got that whole sort of
Yeah.
analysis of who's
Yeah.
really the awful,
Yeah.
right? Well, I think we're ready for our headliner, right?
Oh, this-
We've
yes.
teased it. We've been talking about banquets. We've been talking about blood. We've been talking about guts and all these people being killed and royals being killed. We've arrived at the story we really want to tell now that we've got all of this backdrop in
Yeah.
place. Let's break down the banquet of blood. That's like a metal solo because it's a
That-
pretty metal story.
That was neither metal nor solo, but if that's the dream you
It
want
was
to live,
solo. I'm
Godspeed.
definitely.
It was
blaming
definitely
myself
solo.
on
That's
that
true.
one.
You're right. That was terrible. All right. So the mastermind of this plot is a man named Abu al-Muslim. Died around 755.
Roughly, circa.
Yeah. Okay. But we don't know a whole lot about this guy. We just don't. We know that he struck the final nail in the coffin of the Umayyad supremacy, and he kind of lays the foundation of Abbasid rule through his kind of meticulous planning and what, ingenious? Was that what you'd say? Ingenious political
Yeah.
maneuvering? Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a schemer. He's a
Oh,
schemer.
he is.
For sure. Right. So what he does, right, is he gets there's even though Marwan II's dead, there's still these family members, and you talked about this in the historical context
Yeah.
section, that family members and family lineage and cousins and everybody else, this is a big deal in the Islamic world.
Yes.
And so if you still have family out there, you still have a legitimate claim to the throne,
Yes.
as it were. And so what the Abbasid need to do is they need to get rid of all of these 80 remaining Umayyads who are out there. And what the plan becomes is to invite them all to a banquet held by this man, Abdullah bi Ali, in the town of Abu Futras. Probably said all of that wrong, and I'm sorry.
No, I think
Right?
you're pretty close.
Okay, so by the middle of 750 AD, there were still remnants of the Umayyad family remaining all over the place, and so you just had to get them all into one center, one location, which took a little bit of time, right? Because they
Yeah.
had these strongholds everywhere, so they were kind of rooted out and then relocated and rooted out and relocated until every one of the family members was going to be available for this big banquet, right?
Mhm.
And that's when these machinations that you were talking about of this bloody event start to unfold overall. So I know you love this story, so I'll
I
let
do
you
love this story 'cause-
hammer this one home.
Because at first it reminded me of The Godfather. This is such a mafia event, but then we're going to tie it to something different a little bit. So, oh my God, it's terrible. So, given their desperate status and the hope for surrendering terms, because the Umayyads know the Abbasids are out for them, right? You're not going to be able to come back from this. You have 80 family members left against all of the Abbasids. So they go to this banquet because what they're looking for is fair surrendering terms, right?
Right.
Just make it fair, right? Don't slaughter us. Don't take everything away. Just make it fair. We'll fade off into the sunset. We'll call it good, right?
Right.
And they show up, ceremoniously show up, and they're feasting and they're having festivities, and it seems like everything's going well. This might be a really, really, really good idea, but once the feasting and the festivities are over, almost all of the princes were, without remorse, clubbed to death by Abbasid followers.
What? Clubbed to death?
literally clubbed to death. And then
Oh man.
and thus we have the end of the Umayyads. Well, kind of, sort of, but definitely
Well,
the end of their power.
that's so messed up because, like, all right, because when you were telling this, like, they're feasting, like, I'm thinking, like, there's like strong wines and like fine foods, and we
Oh,
know
there
the
were.
Umayyads were really into like harem building, right? And which was a sin, but like there would be dancers and this like really good feel good sort of like thing going on. And you mean to tell me that as all these guys are just having fun and hanging out and thinking that like, yeah, we lost the war, but we're gonna still get like, I don't know, fair treatment.
Yeah.
There's
Nope.
these guys like polishing baseball bats, like just off stage and like wrapping them with barbed wire and driving long nails through them just so they could, like smash up the Umayyad and just
Yeah.
destroy them.
Once you said commitment to cause, you said that yourself.
Oh man, dude. I wonder, like in that moment when you
Yeah.
see that guy like come in with that club and he's about to bash you,
Yeah.
if you're like, yeah, in retrospect, this was a
This is
bad
a bad
idea.
idea. Yeah.
Like there had to have been that thought, right? Like just like, oh
Like crap.
yeah,
But not
man.
crap, yeah. But on a side note, this ties in with The Walking Dead once again because one of the best villains of The Walking Dead was Negan, and his favorite tool was a bat that he named Lucille, which was after his dead wife. And Lucille was wrapped in barbed wire, and that's how he, killed the people who angered him.
Wow, I did not know any of that.
It's totally true.
Dude, just jumped out with Lucille, just bashing people
That's
up.
what he did, yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Like, just
So,
all hell breaks loose.
it does. So basically, we were talking about Paul Freeman earlier, but as he tells it, there was a signal given to attack the Umayyads, and like
Uh-huh.
you said, all hell broke loose, right? So it's like these assassin types are just jumping out from behind the curtains, and the opposite host jumped up, and they're all just whacking, like literally whacking these poor guys away, like club hit after club hit. Now just take it that visual, right? When you've got clubs that are bashing people's brains
Blood,
in, there is
guts,
blood and gray matter and skull just
oh, it's like a
flying
Robert
everywhere.
Rodriguez like movie sort of thing. That's the sort of thing that would probably make his stomach turn a little bit.
Who is Robert Rodriguez?
Who's Robert Rodriguez?
Yeah.
He's a horror director. He does like horror action films.
Like which ones?
Like probably the one you probably know best is like the El Mariachi series. It's like not Benicio del Toro. Who's the guy, the heartthrob?
George
He was,
Clooney? Is this the one with
no,
George
no.
Clooney now?
Antonio Banderas.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
I guess he was a heartthrob like
yeah, a long,
30
long time ago.
years
Yeah.
ago.
He was a
Jeez.
heartthrob for my mom, Matt.
Yeah, well, I remember people liking him in Desperado. That was like a big
Yeah,
movie.
people my
But you
mom's
like
age.
that scene in Desperado with Quentin Tarantino, and like there's that bar scene, and everybody gets blasted up,
Yeah.
and there's just like everything's painted red,
Yeah,
like top to bottom.
that would be
Like
it. Yeah,
I'm imagining that.
yeah, I could see that.
All right. So what happens when it's all said and done?
So when the killing is over, the dead Umayyad are covered with giant leather tarp. Okay, nice for cleanup, right?
It's sensible.
Now, there are some sources that claim that the dying Umayyad family members were still writhing under the leather blanket. We do not know if that's true. Like, we just don't. We don't have enough corroboration to know if that's true. Not that
Right.
I would doubt it, because sometimes that happens. And then the Abbasid sit on the corpses and begin their feast, drenched in blood and gore.
Dude.
Dude, you are literally sitting over people you just clubbed to death, and there's blood and brain matter everywhere, and you're sitting down to eat dinner.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like listen, the look of mischievous joy on the face of Paul Friedman, the Yale historian, when
Yeah.
he
Is he
relates
like
these
literally
details.
smiling when he says this?
Oh, it's like it's so amazing. He's so excited to tell that detail about
Yeah.
like sitting on the people and eating afterwards. But it's like also it's so it is Yale in this like be respectable sort of like way that like he can't like enjoy it the way he wants to, right?
Yeah.
Like the stuffy institution of Yale is holding him back, but this sly little smile that creeps onto his face like over and over again
When he's
when
retelling the story.
he's a little blue-blooded psychopath, you know it. You just know it, right? He loves that section of the story in particular. It's so messed up, though.
Is this guy still alive? Yeah.
Probably. I
So
mean,
the producers, us, and the speakers at Storytime with the Historist do not really believe he's a psychopath.
no,
that was just for laughing.
That's satire. That's satire. So it's legally we're in the clear. That's satire, right? Um, but yeah, you know that story.
Yeah.
It's so relatable, and I think a lot of people like oh, I've heard something like that because it's also the story of the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I am not a Game of Thrones fan. I haven't really seen the series, but I people were so aghast at the Red Wedding. I definitely went onto YouTube to watch it. Yeah, you're right.
yeah, and then like I don't know if we should spoiler alert this one. I think we
Dude,
should. So
the
if you
series
don't
has
want,
ended. It's fine.
yeah, but there's people out there. I mean, they've got something new coming out, so maybe people are going to go back and listen to the old stuff. However, like just like this same sort of thing plays out,
Yeah.
and the end result is like the killing of half of your favorite characters all at one go. And you know, it's pretty crazy. And there's just something about it, you know, when royal people get killed and it kind of comes out of the blue, like it's really shocking and galling.
I did hear it was like it really was shocking. Like people are like, "What just happened?"
Hey, hold on real quick. I'm getting
Okay.
like a Google Meets sort of thing
All right.
coming. Oh, Jen, I like we definitely need to take this. This is such horrible timing.
We've never
It's
taken a call before.
I know, but we got to take this one in. Like, okay, remember a couple. Oh man, he must have gotten our stuff through. Tsar Nicholas Romanov
Yeah.
is trying to get in on the show right now.
All right,
This
let
is
him in.
horrible. Oh, should we? What are we going to tell him?
I don't know. I'm
All
not
right,
talking to him. You are.
we'll tell him something. All right.
All right.
That was nuts. I don't know if he's ever going to come back on the show. Like
That's
that was
fine.
horrible.
Really, that's
Horrible.
fine.
It's fine.
That
No,
he never comes back on the show, I'm good with it.
I want to be his friend.
I know you like him. I know. I
Oh,
know.
he's so pissed at this. Like he's our new friend. He's friend of the show, Czar Nicholas. Right?
Well, maybe he will come back. Maybe he'll cool down and everything will be okay.
I think he's plenty cold right now. Oh,
Oh,
too soon.
probably not.
No, I think we're all right. All right. So at the top of the show, as we bring it to a close here, you had made the claim that this event, that's the Red Wedding and the destruction of the Umayyad and the rise of the
Yeah,
Abbasid, literally would change world history.
it does.
So time to back it up now because we got a bunch of dead guys in a leather like wrapped up in a leather sheet and like not a lot to show from it except for like a universal hatred of poetry. So
Okay, so
what do we got?
okay, so here's the deal, right? Is there is this gentleman, Rahman ibn Muawiyah, who is going to make a daring escape or escapade all the way to distant Spain. Like he is a Umayyad, and he escapes, and so he hightails it to Spain. He's like, I can't be here. This isn't going to work. I got to go somewhere else. And it kind of seems like that would be a minor detail, but he establishes the Caliphate of Cordoba, and that becomes a pretty strong caliphate in Spain,
Okay.
where a strong Muslim rule in Spain. And even that, you're like, well, so what? He created a caliphate in Spain. Yeah, but the caliphate in Spain and the Christians in Spain, even though for a while they lived really peacefully, kumbaya,
Hmm.
eventually this is going to lead to the Reconquista. And we know what a big event the
Dude,
Reconquista
I totally
is,
see where you're going with this.
right? And
Yeah.
this whole Reconquista, and for our listeners who don't know what the Reconquista is, it's like the reconquering of Spain for Christian Spain, right?
Right. I
And
think that's a future episode for us.
yeah, and as a part of the Reconquista, what ends up happening is that you have the Iberian nations, Spain and Portugal, who not only decide they're going to drive all the Muslims out of the Iberian Peninsula, but it's also going to usher in the so called Age of Exploration, where we're going to see the Portuguese and Spanish take off into the Indian Ocean and then across the Atlantic Ocean,
Right.
starting up the European Age of Colonization, which definitely has
Kind of
a
a big
huge
deal.
changing effect for hundreds upon hundreds of years afterwards.
Yeah, it's like kind of like those life hacks sort of things that you see online. Like
Yeah,
the Iberians get this
yeah.
knowledge hack of all that knowledge through the Caliphate of Cordoba. Because one thing listeners like we got to keep clear is like there was all these like houses of wisdom that sprung up inside of
Hmm.
the Abbasid Caliphate. There's obviously the big one
In
in
Baghdad,
in
yeah.
Baghdad, but you have like these lesser universities and houses of wisdom spread all across the Middle East, North Africa, and indeed into Spain and the Iberian Peninsula, where all of that knowledge would have been just ripe for the plucking for the Europeans as they take back over that territory. And we're talking advanced math, science, map making, shipbuilding,
Everything, yeah.
the whole 9 yards.
So
Wow.
again,
Okay. Fair
if
enough.
there had been no Banquet of Blood, then we would have had probably no Cordoba Caliphate, and then we maybe never ever had the Age of Exploration. Who knows?
I'm impressed with that. That's a good put together. That's a good way
Yeah,
to
like it's a
tie that one up.
big deal.
That is a kind of a big deal. All right, fair enough. All right, way to go,
Thank you.
Abbasids. Way to go, making the first Lucille's and bashing some people up.
Who would
The
have ever
world-
thought we
the
could have
world
made a
appreciates it.
connection between the Abbasid Caliphate, the Umayyads, and Walking Dead? I'm pretty impressed with us.
I'm impressed with you. Well done. Well
Thank you.
done.
Thank you.
All right, guys, and that's the end of our story. That's the end of the premiere episode, season 3 of Storytime with the Histress. As always, we appreciate the support out there. Make sure you rate and review. If you want to write a little write up, there's a YouTube channel that I'm a huge fan of, where the creator just says, just like for the algorithm. So FTA, and then just drop us with a 5-star review, and if it's a 1-star review, just keep it to yourself. We don't need that. But if you want to help us out, totally feel free to do so. We're coming back at you. We've got a great slate of episodes
we do.
this season. I definitely think listeners will pick up on a theme that we established in this season. And it's going to be a lot of fun to get after it. So I can't wait until the next episode. Jen, you want to take us out?
Yep, ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you for listening to Storytime with the Histress. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.